at the top.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for your time in joining today's training webinar, showcasing the Master of Design, Innovation and Technology program. I'm sorry first up because I feel like I'm getting a bit of sound feedback. I hope it's not disturbing you guys too much. We'll just wait 1 or 2 moments to wait for others to join before we get started. So just wait a moment. Hopefully the feedback will sort itself out. Right, I think that might be it for everyone joining the room. So thanks again for coming along. We are joined today by our 2 presenters from RMIT School of Design, the Program Managers, Associate Professor Lawrence Harvey and Dr. Malte Wagenfeld. During the presentation, feel free to post your questions or comments in the chat box as we'll have time at the end to have them answered. I also have Ari and Michelle from the Agent Management team on hand posting useful links and information as we go. For any technical issues, let us know again via the chat and we'll do our best to have it sorted for you. For any colleagues that couldn't make today's session and for your future reference, a link will be shared in the chat box where you will be able to download today's slides. We'll also be emailing you a copy of the presentation and the recording to your email, as also uploading that to the Agent Management portal. Today's session will run for around 30 minutes with time for questions. So let's get started. Over to you, Lawrence and Malte. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Yes, so I'm Dr. Malte Wagenfeld and my colleague here, Associate Professor Lawrence Harvey. We are the Program Directors for the Masters of Design, Innovation and Technology at RMIT School of Design. And today, thank you all for joining us or for watching the recording. Today we'll be talking about what our Masters entails, what the opportunities are, and hopefully answering some of the questions you might have. I hand it over to you, Lawrence.
Thanks very much, Malte. As we do on these occasions, I'd like to acknowledge the people of the Woiwurrung and Bunurong language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nations on whose unceded lands we conduct the University of RMIT. And we respectfully acknowledge their ancestors and elders, past, present and emerging. And we also acknowledge the traditional custodians and the ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct our business of the university. Next slide, please. And we say these things before presentations, before meetings, before gatherings, because RMIT is committed to redefining the relationship that we have with the traditional owners of this land, particularly supporting self-determination. And this is a big wave that has swept right across this country in the last couple of years, and we're very honoured, very proud to be part of this big cultural motion, and we do it to embed in reconciliation in everything that we do. All right, let's move on. Now, what is the MDIT? MDIT, Master of Design, Innovation and Technology, and we talk about transdisciplinary practice within that. And so within that, you'll see as we go through this presentation that not just the staff, but also our students are coming from a very, very diverse range of disciplines, from engineering, architecture, landscape, sound, industrial design, service design, graphic design. I would even add in there art, health, business. It's a really diverse community. And so we often have a discussion before a studio or an elective. We say, so what's your home discipline? And it's a very long list, very exciting list too. But within that, students speculate on the future of design. and how they're going to adapt from their home discipline into new disciplines and collaborations to live and work in a rapidly changing world. And so we also then use the program not just as a place to learn, but also to develop their own critical thinking. And most importantly, the MDiT is part of the world famous RMIT School of Design, of which we are number 1 in Australia and number 15
in the world.
In the world. All right, this is one of mine, isn't it? Yep. So the question, why MDiT? The MDiT came out of a research group that was formed at RMIT back in the early 2000s, and the degree's continued on since then. We officially started in 2014, so we're coming up for our 10-year anniversary in 2024. And as it says on the slide there, we reach across many of the more traditional but also emerging design disciplines as well, to look at ways that students are going to go out and work in the world, as we said, in a rapidly changing environment. And we're finding that we get students who are coming to extend what they see as their current discipline, but also as a way of inventing or forming themselves into a new type of practitioner across disciplines, and one that can collaborate with other disciplines as well.
Right, so I'll talk a little bit about the entry requirements and credits and numbers. So we are a 4-semester, 2-year coursework masters. And as we are transdisciplinary, we do not stipulate what undergraduate degree a student has. The only key requirement is that they must have successfully completed either an Australian bachelor degree or hold an equivalent international qualification. Now, students who do come from a relevant design background, so they have a bachelor in design, these students will be granted a 48 credit point, or that means a 1-semester credit. So which means that students with a design degree, a bachelor's in design, will complete our masters within 1.5 years. And applicants who come from the honours degree in industrial design at RMIT will be given a full 1-year credit. On average, we accept around 30 to 35 students each semester, and we currently have a student body comprising roughly 120 students, or maybe a little bit more. And we must say we've grown. In 2016, we were 16 students, and so we have grown rapidly, but we have peaked. So the ideal number for us is this 120 students limit. So what do we do at MDiT? So it's thought of actually, I think you're talking to this one.
No,
I'm talking to this one.
No,
Great.
I've got my list here.
Great. Okay, so we are, all the staff at MDiT are design professionals and design researchers. And so our teaching facility is really looked at as an integrated research teaching facility in which we partner with industry. We've got a large industry partnership who with us set up our curriculum. With them we develop the projects. And so our projects, and our teaching is all led by design professionals, active designers and active design researchers. And we challenge students with topics that are at the forefront of technological, ecological, and social innovation. So our curriculum changes each semester as the world changes and new challenges develop. So this is our cosmos, if we look at it, with MDiT at the middle. So we're design-focused, research-driven, practice-based. That means studio-based, exploring and learning and discovering through doing design. We're, of course, transdisciplinary, industry-partnered, solution-seeking, collaborative, local and global. So we do have a Melbourne focus with maybe where our projects come from, but not at all entirely. But we are very, very global masters, and our partnerships have a very global reach. And of course, we are future orientated, which is the main idea of MDiT. Now, at the core of the academic structure is a group of research streams that reflect the ongoing research investigations of our staff and research investigations that are very current within the sphere of design. And so these include digital fabrication, information environments, interactive technologies, spatial sound, and we're of course in our fabulous sound lab, which looks a little bit like a Mars landing module, spatial sound, immersive experience, and sustainable futures. And I must say that we can say that very much the focus of the masters is on the last one, on sustainable futures and what that looks like. So each semester, students choose from a range of partnered design projects and skill-based elective offerings that originate from these research streams. And this structure opens up pathways from undergraduate all the way through postgraduate and higher degree research candidatures.
Yep, that's right. I just realised you've got the numbers down the bottom. So,
right.
Yeah. Okay, so we've been using terms like research-led and looking at beyond the MDiT and where it sits within some related activity, particularly of the staff, but also in relation to the university. So this is a way of explaining how our research and teaching model works together. So as Malte mentioned, we're all design practitioners, but we are also engaged in practice-based research, and we also supervise higher degree by research students, so PhD and masters by research. And this diagram here explains that ecology, so that we have students coming from honours, possibly then through university electives into the masters, or from bachelor's degree. And even more recently, we've now had students moving from the MDiT, so from the coursework masters up into the research stream, where they can even expand on their own interests that they've developed through the MDiT. So how do we do this? So this is the basic course structure, so explaining. So design studios with 24 credit point electives, and you do one of those per semester, and then so design studio 24 credit points and 12 credit point elective. The culmination of all of this is then a final semester of what we call major project part A and part B. Part A is a design research compendium, which is a document and reflection on part B, which is the practice-based creative actual design project that they do. And so one of the things we say is that we don't just graduate a student, we graduate an idea.
Great.
I think I've jumped the gun, that's yours.
Yep, no, that's fine. So this is what our curriculum structure is, and it's a very simple but very clever structure, and very clear. And so in the first 3 semesters, students do a studio, and these are vertically integrated studios. And what that means is that students across the 3 semesters may be in the same project. And they complement this with 2 electives each semester. And then, as Lawrence was saying, this culminates in the final semester of the second year in their major project, which is their capstone project for the masters. And so each semester we offer a selection of design studios, and as we mentioned before, these are partnered with industry, and this is a selection of this semester's posters. So we give, at the start of each semester, we give a fairly long induction session, which includes the presentation of the studios that we are offering that semester to the students, and the students then ballot, so they cast a vote for which studio they would like to do. And as we said before as well, these are, we never repeat the one studio. The studios sit within these spheres of research that we talked about, such as digital fabrication or immersive environments. But every semester we develop a new studio, partnered on projects that are current and pertinent to the students. So in 21, there were a number of projects working in the areas of COVID, of how to live with COVID. And now there's much more of a sustainable futures focus. And this is a range of our electives. This includes flexible modeling, where students learn parametric design, 3D printing, make things interactive, where they learn to use computer controllers and coding to create interactive environments, soundscape studies, and so on. So there's a large range, I think over 10 electives now that we're offering that students can choose from, and they choose 2 per semester. And then this is an example of some of the major projects the students have done. So as we said, in the final semester, their capstone project is this major project. And the idea of this major project is that it's self-driven research for the student, and here the student really uses this major project to create the trajectory for their career in their future. So our student body, and we're particularly proud of our students. So thank you for all the agents, because we are getting excellent students. And the nice thing about MDiT is it's a very international school. We have students from China, India, Taiwan, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Sri Lanka. Indonesia's twice there. South Africa, New Zealand, Scandinavia, Brazil, Mexico, Colombo, Philippines, USA, Ireland, Iran, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and of course from Australia. And this is really only a selection of where our students come from. About 25% of our students are from Australia, 25 to 30, and the other 70% are international. And they also come from a large range of disciplines, and this includes, of course, from the field of design, which is the cognate discipline, but also outside of design, so including disciplines such as science and engineering, business, marketing, IT, and healthcare. And this all makes for an incredibly vibrant student environment, where ideas and expertise from many cultures and disciplines converge and augment the learning environment. And another key feature of studying at MDiT is that within these first 3 semesters, students work largely on group projects. So they work in teams, the way design happens in the profession, where designers very rarely work by themselves. They generally work in teams, working on big problems. And so the nice thing here is that we can have students in one team from various cultures and from various disciplines. And so they really augment and support each other's expertise and learning. And this is an example of last semester's of top graduates from last semester, and so we can run through them. So we have Ali from Australia, who came from a science background and also neuroscience. We had a graduate, I won't go through their names due to privacy, a graduate from Malaysia who had come from industrial design, a graduate from the Philippines who came from mechanical science, a graduate who's both Venezuelan and Australian, from civil engineering, a architecture from Brazil, and then we're very proud of our 2 recipients from who finished in 2021 and applied for full PhD scholarships, which are worth about $300,000. And very unusually, we got 2 of these scholarships. I think there's only 5 for the entire university. And so one of them came from product design, a Chinese student, and an Indian student from architecture. And they're now doing their PhD with us on very exciting projects. Okay.
Great, thanks, Malte. So just to a little bit about the staff. So because we've got these very diversified streams, because you can imagine it's a very transdisciplinary staff group as well. And many of us have been involved in not just teaching, but funded research for many years at both the local, national and international level. And so this is what's informing particularly things around, as Malte was saying, about the briefs that we develop for each semester. They're definitely coming from components of real world projects and then relate to topics that we've been involved in, or we can see that are emerging as well. And in some instances too, we've then taken students back into the projects to work as research assistants, which we're interested in doing more of. As we mentioned, we just saw 2 of our other graduates have moved into research careers, into their PhDs. Thank you. So here's a range of them. Malte and I are there. Also then Ross McLeod, Michael Trudgeon and Sarah Teasley, who joined us about a year and a half, 2 years ago from Canada. And I should say, in the same way that our student cohort are very international, so the staff grouping, Pirjo Haikola from Finland, Sarah from Canada, Ollie's from France, and then Michelle, Jeff and Jordan, all from Australia. So in terms of those research projects, these are some images from those, ranging from gallery installations, performance, industrial design, working across different problems in many, many different contexts, from Pirjo's work in underwater environments, looking at synthesis of coral reefs, through to ways that we experience culture differently, and the future of the kitchen in the bottom right-hand corner.
Right. So student opportunities. We, of course, COVID interrupted this a little bit, but we're moving back into the global sphere. So again, a big focus of MDiT is our global initiatives, where we do international competitions with students and take students to various campuses around the world. And this it had included in 2015 Tsinghua University, where there was a project in digital fabrication and advanced manufacturing led by Jane Burry. And again, designing responsive and adaptive environments with Jane Burry in Spain. I then took students to Barcelona in 2017 for Project Food for Thought, where we worked with the architect Enrique Ruiz-Gali, who you can see in the bottom image there, in Barcelona. And we worked with a local town in Barcelona and a vineyard to rethink how to revitalize a town and its economy. And the mayor and several of the representatives of that town actually flew to Barcelona for our final presentation. And then Ian DeVere and I ran a project again in Barcelona, Safeness by Design, where we looked at the problem of safety with electric scooters, which is becoming a huge problem around the world, of how to rethink that. And we worked with the city of Barcelona on that. Oliver Kostafis has taken several groups to New York for the International Biodesign Challenge. And likewise, I forgot to add this to this slide. I ran a competition last year with Mercedes-Benz to rethink their navigation systems. It was an international design competition, and our student group won the competition, which was a fantastic result. And then this year we have a large cohort of exchange students joining us from Scandinavia, the Netherlands, and the US. And on top of this, we have a number of students each year that we're going, doing a semester abroad, as study abroad, or as exchange students, particularly at the Cologne International School of Design. The other opportunities we offer our students is what we call work integrated learning. And that is where the students have a internship or placement within one of our very many industry partners. And this is becoming more and more popular with the students, and we are growing the list of people, of organizations that are partnering with us. Did you want to talk to that as well? Or?
No, only just that the students certainly get a lot out of the opportunity to get that real world experience, particularly with their unique set of skills they're coming out with. It's a great opportunity for them.
And this is from our current LinkedIn site. And so this is just a random selection of recent graduates and where they have gone. So they've gone to work as architects and designers, virtual and spatial designers, experienced designers, architects, design researchers, Craig Walker, interior architects and multidisciplinary designers. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see that there's a very large range. Web development, experienced design is a big one, and multidisciplinary designers. So we have a fantastic alumni network, and we can track where this helps us track and support where our students are going. And we are about to have a alumni evening with our alumni students from the last few years, joining us, talking to our current students. And we do this because it's fantastic sort of opportunity for alumni to give feedback to current students how they can develop their career path and what their sort of secrets were in forging their career. So I don't think we need to talk to this in particular, but yes, well, one important figure here is, this is just some information that maybe you can look at later, but one important part of the information is we conducted a survey in 2020 and found that 73.6% of the alumni either had full or part-time work or have formed independent enterprises. And the other portion of those students had gone on to onto higher degrees learning, so had continued their learning. And did you want, I think we also had the students from China and particularly India are the most likely ones to take up the offer of having a 2-year work visa in Australia, where they're working in the industry after completing their masters.
So one of the other things that we've developed over the last couple of years, and I'll just quickly go through this because we've got about 1 minute remaining, is that we're what we call our digital presence. And in some ways it was happening before COVID, but it definitely accelerated during COVID, that we started looking at how we were using our online resources to not just think about it being online, but it being a global degree. And that's the way we use the digital side of it. So during COVID, we kept all of our courses running online, including sound courses and design courses and 3D modeling. Since then, we've created a student portal for students to be able to more easily access university services. The website that I noticed Jane had put into the chat earlier, and we've mentioned the LinkedIn page. We've also run an MDIT Instagram and WeChat groups along with Facebook. More recently, we now have what's called MDIT TV. If you search on MDIT space TV, that's actually our TV channel that we're now running on YouTube, and we had our first event just out there last night, and we can provide some links to that. So that's an opportunity for the staff to present back to the students, and they get questions and critique and conversation, and then that goes out live, and it will also stay on our website. So again, lots of ways that people can experience MDIT before they get here. So these are just some final slides just from websites and also previous exhibitions. That's our student portal. That's for the sound studio, that one. And this is for our more general portal where we've done a big sweep across the university, the things that we've noticed are most relevant to students, or particularly to our students, and put it into a single place to find things. Some images from our Instagram page. That's our alarm to finish.
Okay.
Just some images from our Instagram page. Thanks. Facebook page as well, which we post to. And this is the MDIT TV site. So some lectures that both Malte and I've been involved with, and also Pirio, and we're actually going to re-record some of them and put them back. And very finally, just a list of our industry partners who are working.
A small list of our industry partners.
Yeah. Great. Okay, thanks for listening.
Okay, hopefully we're right on time. Thank you very much for listening. And
you both have done an exceptional job keeping to that 30-minute time slot. We'll probably wait for some more questions to come in from our audience. In the meantime, there was one that's come up about admissions requirements, and that might be related to students that are looking to apply on the basis of their work experience rather than previous qualifications. So is there anything in particular that you might be looking for in terms of that background that's more highly considered? Do they need things like experience design or managerial experience, for example, if they were to be considered?
Yeah, that's we can probably both answer that. That's a very good question. Thank you. There is, if you go to the RMIT information site, there is a line saying that students will be accepted or will be looked at who have relevant experience. I think it's a matter of really how the students present their experience, and it doesn't have to be from a design background at all. It could be them maybe working as, maybe in medical research or in engineering or as sound engineers. I think we've had some students who were sound engineers, did not have a degree in that necessarily. Or I'm just trying to think of some other examples, maybe people who worked in health. So maybe if it's someone who did nursing or other areas, and it's more about saying and building a story as to, why they would want to come to MDIT, and transition their knowledge. So it's normally a requirement of about 3 years relevant work experience, and the relevant really can be in any area that leads them to some sort of line of thinking about the future of society or the future of research, or how design might help them further their trajectory.
So exactly. So if you've got someone coming from, let's call it a non-design discipline initially, but they could see that more knowledge around design thinking, design practices, how design can bring disciplines together, we're really interested in those students because they're the ones that come with a deep knowledge already of a particular discipline, and what they're looking to do is to transform it into other ways that are collaborative and can address other problems.
Yeah, so we're really looking at growing people and growing their ideas. So I hope that explains that one.
Sorry, I just took myself on camera because I just sneezed.
Right.
No, that was a fantastic answer. Thank you so much. It's obvious that you would attract a really diverse mix of students into the program, really, and a vibrant community. Just in terms of a day in the life of an MDiv student, are they working a lot in groups? Is there a lot of engagement, small sessions? What's the kind of contact like for students?
So in their first 3 semesters, they'll have 6 hours of face-to-face studio contact per week plus 2 electives, so another 6 hours as well. So that's what, total of 12 hours contact. Then because they're working in groups, then it's up to them to organise, to do the group side of their projects as well. And then around that, they've got other lectures and events that we organise for the students, basically social gatherings on an occasional Friday afternoon, lectures and things like that. And then, of course, the wider life of the university. We're based in the middle of Melbourne, and so they've got the whole city's on the doorstep, as well as lots and lots of student accommodation next door and just up the street as well. So they're really coming into and both a very dynamic, intellectually dynamic, but also just socially in terms of urban dynamic environment as well.
I might as well, thank you, Lawrence. I might add as well that we have a 24-hour campus. So within our space, we've got a large sort of breakout space where students have their student lounge and working areas with computers, 3D printers and so on. So they can be there 24 hours a day. We don't want them to be there. We do want them to get some sleep, but they are there. You know, I can walk in at 11 o'clock at night sometimes, and it'll be a great buzz of students working away. We also have a large range of workshops, and of course RMIT has other facilities, and as Lawrence mentioned, we're in the middle of the city, so it's fantastic cafes and restaurants and bars, and importantly art galleries and other creative institutions that they can look at. We've got the advanced manufacturing precinct just around the corner from us, and so there's great opportunities for students to make great use of all that.
Thanks.
Fantastic. You've got a fantastic spread of resources for our agents to explore. The MDiv website plus MDiv TV, which is coming. We're going to check it out after this session today. Guys, if you've got any further questions, we'll be able to address those at a later time. Thank you again to our wonderful presenters from the School of Design, Lawrence and Malte. Thanks again for your time. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Great. Thank you very much for the
Bye,
opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jane.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.